I'm Maya. At 28, I can pinpoint from one meow if a cat's merely irritated or truly hurting. Mondays at the clinic hit you with that mix of antiseptic, brewed coffee, and damp coat scents. Hate it. You've picked the wrong spot. I swing the glass door wide and the tiny brass bell jingles, tipping off my coworker Chloe in the treatment area. She doesn't glance up, just hollers, "Hey May, Her Highness has arrived." Her Highness is this tabby feline diva, formerly princess, though she acts like she rules every royal line known to man. I slip on my pale green scrub top, scrub up, inhale deeply, and dive into the flow. Out in the lobby, a pug's shaking like it's stranded in icy water. His owner clutches him too firm, so I softly touch her arm and murmur, "Give him room to quiver. It's how he shows he wants your comfort." She dips her head, and the little guy eases his breaths. Beside them sits Wally the rabbit, ears flattened, trying to blend into nothingness. I kneel and coo. "Wall, that vanishing trick only lands if you don't stare at me so obviously." He flutters his lids. Honestly, bunnies seem to get jokes. Inside the exam space, Chloe passes the shot needle without a word. I steady Princess's noggin, her gaze narrowed to lines, one paw daintily tucked. Royals don't do vulnerability. I whisper right by her ears, "Nearly there, ma'am." Her coat feels toasty, frame rigid. My thumb locates the secret feline yield point. Jab in, finished. "Wizard fingers," the owner declares, eyeing me like I deserve a badge. I grin, dab the site clean, jot in the chart, shot administered. Follow-up in a year. Throne intact. Our crew's tight-knit. Chloe, Tex, Zoe, and me, plus Ms. Rodriguez up front, who juggles chaos like a blend of drill sergeant and Nana. The AM buzzes with steady energy, snug and steady. Scans, samples, clip jobs, soothing words, clear talks. I bridge the gap from panic to faith, that spot shaped by touch. At the noon break, Chloe and I huddle in the rear alley, clutching disposable mugs. January's chill bites fresh and sharp, our exhales curling like mist. She sips first and mutters sideways, "What's up with that expression?" I feign ignorance. Typical Monday blues. She rolls her eyes. "Nah, you seem set on a path or on the verge." I fiddle with my scrub pocket buttons. Finally, I admit, got an app idea brewing. Chloe advises, "Go for it, but trust your instincts over code." Since she gets me, she tacks on, "Gentle with speed, careful with cash." I chuckle. "Cash from where?" Her reply, "Guys chasing wild ideas often run light on funds." I call it pessimism. She claims know-how. Later, Vanessa pops in the frame, drops a pair of macarons on my desk like party sprinkles, and quips, "Crisis snacks." Vanessa's my cop pal, solid for 12 years running. Her gaze sparkles sharp. Her tone shifts from velvet to iron. She locks eyes. "You." I shrug one side. Perhaps an app. She acknowledges with a nod. Strap in tight. I beam. Heart in armor. Spot on. "And if you tumble, land on me," she adds, patting her badge like it's a cushion. I stash the treats before Ms. Rodriguez swipes them and vow, "I'll ring you prior to any dumb move." Shift ends. The barn carries whiffs of straw, warm puffs, soil. Luna, my buddy's mare, pokes her muzzle into my coat, snagging the treat like I'm transparent. I smooth her forelock aside and ask, "You spot me clear, huh?" In the covered ring, it's our duo alone. The glow's soft and hazy. Hooves echo sharp. My form recalls the basics. Stride, jog, lope. A trio of cues that mend the hours. All under me settles. Thoughts clear out. Just the beat lingers, plus the faint saddle creak. Beyond, dusk paints the heavens purple, initial stars like faint pricks. Heading back, I muse that quiet might ring true, but it ain't family. Home means rinse off. Barn grit sloughs away like shed hide. Comfy sweats, herbal brew, novel. I attempt focus, but the plot slides off. Fridge drones loud, phone in hand, an app, Titles evoking scents, gyms, casual vibes that sneak up on real connections. I pick one, add a duo of pics, one cradling a kitty, the other with Luna hazy behind, and craft my profile. Vet life, scribbles, pages, gooey buns, chat with beasts in theirs, folks in ours. I hover over submit, hold my breath, tap it. Night one buzzes like fresh entryway in my pad, folks strolling by, some pausing. A chime hits. Profile 1, 2, 3. Swipe no, whoa, yes. Then a note that stands out. Chris. Cinna rolls as personality quizzes. Team or nah? Me. Team, provided the spice doesn't skimp. Chris. Spice never skimps on my watch. Chris here, indie coder. I'm a dog lover at heart. You, me, Maya, Veta, the horse enthusiast, the bookworm, the cinnamon aficionado. Chris seems like a crew I'd love to join. We swap voice notes. His voice carries a cozy warmth with a gravelly undertone, like he's chuckled hard or chatted deep into the night. Nola, his pup, booted him from the bed yesterday, he shares, and I catch that deep, rumbling laugh of his. I describe Princess, who governs with just one paw, and he replies, I've got magical touch. We chat about our go-to spots. He mentions Prospect Park, that spot with cinnamon buns that bring back sweet kid memories. I counter with the barn right before a canter, when everything's leaning into a definite yes. He inquires, what's a canter like? I blurt out instinctively, like a phrase that suddenly clicks into place. A pause stretches across the call. Then he responds, I'd like more of those. I message Vanessa. He's amusing. Dog, coffee, cinnamon vibes. She shoots back. Details, name, pick, spot to meet. I reply, Central Park, Sunday amid the daytime bustle. She approves. Smart. Keep your guard partially up. Skip rides. No invites upstairs. I insist. I can handle it solo. She reassures. I get that. Just giving you backup if you want it. The stretch to Sunday drags like elastic, clingy and quick to rebound. Mornings pull me into the clinic's steady flow. I soothe a shivering terrier convinced the apocalypse is nigh, until after 3 minutes, he catches on it's not. I guide an elderly woman on why that pill matters for her feline, despite his post-dose grudge. I repeat, it's all right, 3 times, sincere each go. Amid shifts, my phone buzzes in my coat pocket. A note. Morning, creature whisperer. Caught the coffee aroma yet. I reply amid bandage rolls. My brew stirs a gentle ocean. Yours. He describes Nola snoring like an incoming gale. I share a snap of Luna. He counters with one of Nola, eyeing his paperwork like she's the boss, delaying it till later. Chloe glances my way when she figures she's unseen. Your gaze has a gentle glow, she notes over warm mugs at lunch. I agree. Gentle works. She adds, gentle shines brightest beside the tough stuff. I quip, you remind me of my blue-clad pal. She suggests, perhaps I ought to cross paths with her. I warn, best not, you'd team up in a heartbeat. Sunday in Central Park. Naturally, I'm ahead of schedule. I grab a lemonade to steady my clammy palms and perch on a seat overlooking ducks, pulling duty in rotations. Dressed in my bold sky blue top, my posture signals readiness to hold steady against any breeze. Just as panic hits about losing my breath, there he is. Chris, with tousled dark locks, shades clutched in fist. He strolls without frenzy as though he gets that rushing rarely crafts finer words. His grin transforms his features. Maya, Chris. It's almost silly how that initial greeting shapes the vibe. We stroll, we converse on all sorts, and zilch. He opens up about his gigs. Modest funds, ample liberty, disorder with a skyline twist. I share tales of Chloe, who brews diagnoses over Joe, and Princess, the regal one, who was kind-spirited that day. He probes, what about Luna? I affirm, Luna's the steadfast pro. He chuckles. Prose mend souls, verse shatters them. I muse you speak like you've rehearsed, but sans mirror. At the cafe, he grabs 2 cinnamon buns unprompted. Normally, I bristle at choices thrust upon me, yet this time, it's like he intuits the perfect warmth for my drink. We savor the sugary excess and spill truths too raw for an intro hangout. He confesses, I bailed on uni, overloaded with concepts, short on real living. I reflect, I picked existence before grasping its load of ideas. He prompts, these days. I explain, nowadays I manage inhalations, pets and mine alike. As we part, his embrace lingers beyond any app's protocol, not pushy, merely lingering, and it lands right. He asks, mind if I ring you tomorrow? Voice, not messages. Your sound. I agree, and inside a latch springs free like a bolt yielding. He dials on Mondays, Tuesdays. Evenings find me on the terrace, novel splayed nearby, ignored. He recounts Nola only heeds sit if he beams. Hours pass before I clock the wit. I recount Luna hauling me through the shift, and he wonders if one can master cantering sans prior gallops. I reply, you can conquer the fear of pace if a guide knows the downpours. He falls silent briefly, then vows, I'll master that alongside you. Amid the breezy banter, a phrase dangles that I brush off ere it sticks. He drops it offhand as we lounge by the Hudson the third weekend, feet swinging off the ledge. Bills are lagging from clients. Cash flow's brutal right now. I loathe finances. He grins like he's sorry for the shift. I dip my head, stay mute, sensing my defenses ease a fraction. Soon after, he deems it awkward airing it so soon. He's got a minor gig lined up next week. No intent to weigh me down, just laying it bare. And I, fluent in beast tongues yet still honing people's, catch my words. What can I do? And I'm caught off guard by what I just said. He brushes it aside. We'll sort it out. I don't want figures getting in the way of us. I like you. I don't want you to imagine I'm... He fades out, searching for the right phrasing. I give a slight nod. We watch the rocks settle into the pond as though it's truly submerging. Back at my place, I message Vanessa. He's wonderful. He's straightforward. He's dealing with some financial worries, but it's not a big deal. Her response pops up. Eyes wide, helmet half secured, and that's it. I tuck my phone aside, skim a few chapters, and by dawn, the details have slipped my mind. On Monday, the clinic carries that familiar scent of damp coats and brewed coffee. I cradle a trembling paw, marveling at how profoundly living forms react to gentle tones. I murmur, "You're all right," realizing I could use those words for myself, too. Chloe catches the moment and arches a brow. "Gentleness works," she comments as I pass by, "but it's not the same as giving in." I respond, "I get it, and deep down, I truly do. Yet understanding doesn't steady you when you're twirling on your own choices." That night at the barn, Luna huffs like she's urging, "Find your groove again." I prepare her saddle deliberately, as if I might bind the hours together. Out on the dusty trail, the initial canter brings a faint chatter from birds who always find their nests. I believe I can grip tight yet release. Grip and release. Grip firm. And this time, if I loosen my hold, the earth beneath will be steady. A narrative stirs inside me, one whose path I can't foresee. It carries hints of spice and fresh herbs, echoes Al Green's tunes at a hushed level, and touches like fingers on my waist guiding the motion. I agree with a tilt of my head, and I haven't grasped yet how costly a simple yes might turn out, especially when someone's turned promises into payables. Tuesday unfolded ordinarily. Ms. Rodriguez organized receipts at reception. Chloe nursed her mug, proclaiming no caffeine, no verdict, while I steadied the paw of an anxious German shepherd, acting as if everything was a threat. Routine, I figured. Then my phone buzzed in my coat. 2 quick pulses, one drawn out, the alert for unfamiliar numbers. I peeked at the display while Chloe checked the pup. Chris, it read, a name hitting like a pebble in a stream. Tiny impact, but the waves spread farther than expected. Once the checkup wrapped, I slipped into the corridor and texted, "Morning, you're an early riser." His comeback arrived right away, just checking if the creature whisperer was stirring. I chuckled quietly, replying, Vede comes off more like a cartoon sidekick." He fired back a voice note, his tone drowsy yet inviting. "All right, maybe vet sprite and scrubs. Suits you more. Busy schedule ahead." I replayed it before typing. Later, while brushing Luna as she fidgeted with her foot, my device rang once more. "Share about your ride, Bao," his text read. I snapped a pic of Luna, her nose nearly shoving the phone away. "She's Luna. She calls the shots unless I'm fully focused." He messaged, "She seems clever and headstrong, just like her owner." I shot back, "I'm not headstrong." His reply, "So you're clever. That's superior." My laughter rang out so much Luna pinned her ears, as if muttering, "People." That night, we had our first real phone chat stretching on. I lounged on the terrace, wrapped in a throw, steam rising from my mug. "How'd your day go?" he inquired, full of fluff. Hardly a pause. "Yours. Mayhem. 3 pitches, 2 no's, and a percolator that burst. Typical Tuesday. Burst. Yeah, it doused me in hot liquid, like a skirmish." I couldn't help grinning. "How'd you pull through?" "Gracefully with some gauze." His inflection kept me hooked. We swapped thoughts on songs, reads, favorite spots. He described a cozy spot in Prospect Park with unbeatable pastries. "I'll take you there," he promised. "Sunday Central Park, followed by those treats." Agreed. I bobbed my head unseen. Agreed. The following dawn at work, Chloe eyed me as I soothed a feline buzzing like a motor. "What's got you beaming at the cabinets, Maya?" "Nothing," I blurted too fast. She lifted a brow. "Nothing often hides everything." I chewed my lip. "Possibly a person." "Got it," she smirked. "Stay grounded while your emotions dash ahead." Later, I linked up with Vanessa at our go-to spot. She was clocked out, her jacket slung over the seat, calling for her standard strong shot. "You seem content," she observed, with that look that always pierced deeper than my words. I shared about Chris, our exchanges, the pup who rules the roost. Vanessa set her cup down. "Maya, tread lightly. Folks can fake it digitally." "I know, but he feels genuine." "Feeling's easy," I scowled. "Vic, can't you cheer for me just this once?" She exhaled, covering my hand with hers. "I do, but I'm in law enforcement. I've witnessed too many tales gone wrong." "So guard up." "Heart guarded," I whispered with a grin. "Right on," she affirmed. "And if he wants to see you, head to Central Park this Sunday," she said. "But before you do, describe his outfit so I can spot him from across the field." I gave her an eye roll. "Vic," she beamed back, sort of joking. The weekend arrived quicker than anticipated. There I was in Central Park that afternoon, watching ducks glide across the pond, sipping lemonade. As always, I showed up 30 minutes ahead of schedule. The sunlight dipped toward the horizon, and my palms started to dampen. Spotting him wasn't hard. Chris, with his dark locks, shades dangling from his fingers, and that easy grin lighting up his face. He approached with purpose, halting right in front of me. "Maya," he said. "Chris." Laughter bubbled up from us both, raw and tentative, as we fell into step together like old friends. Soon enough, we claimed a bench, my fingers interlaced tightly, while he lounged back like he owned the place. "You're not quite what I pictured," he remarked. "In what way?" "You come across online like a total overanalyzer, but in person, you seem more carefree." I arched a brow. "Carefree isn't the same as shallow." "Nah," he replied. "Carefree suits you. Remember, you called yourself a feather, right?" His eyes held mine a beat too long, and heat rushed to my cheeks. "Fancy some coffee?" he suggested. We wandered over to the cozy cafe tucked at the park's periphery. The air carried notes of cinnamon, sweetness, and roasted beans, a fragrance that seeps right into you. He didn't even check. He just ordered a pair of cinnamon buns. Usually, I'd push back against anyone deciding for me like that, but not today. I went with it. "Trust my choice," he urged, pushing the plate my way. I bit in. Warm, sugary bliss. A grin escaped me despite myself. "Told you," he noted. "When you're certain, you don't need permission." "Cocky," I muttered around the mouthful. Self-assured, he amended. Conversation flowed endlessly. He shared about his gig, freelance deals that could swing from tense to wild, but the independence kept him hooked. Couldn't stomach a desk job routine, he admitted. Me. I adore the clinic life. Yeah, it's predictable, but each critter brings its own quirks. Fears vary, stories differ. It's more than a paycheck. You're the steady type, he observed. How's that? You stay grounded when everyone else shakes. You radiate poise. That hit home. True, and rarely put that way by anyone. As we strolled beneath the towering sycamores, he spun a tale about Nola, his pup, who once snatched a bagel straight from a runner. He animated it all with gestures, sparkling eyes, every inch of him engaged. I absorbed it like a tune, not mere words. We paused at the water's edge eventually. He skipped a stone across the surface. Tell me about Luna, Maya. Who? Your horse. A burst of laughter hit me. When I'm hesitant, she digs in her heels. When I'm decisive, she follows without question. No faking with her. Sounds like you've got a wise guide. I agreed. Wish humans operated that simply. Same here, he murmured. With the sun easing down, we perched on the low wall overlooking the lake, feet swinging freely. Quiet settled in briefly, but it felt comfortable, not strained. Birdsong mixed with kids' shouts and the city's faint buzz, underscored by his steady breathing nearby. Mind if I ring you tomorrow? He blurted out. Call, not message. Craving that laugh of yours, texts fall short. Our eyes met, his brimming with bold nerves and doubt intertwined, leaving me no choice but to dip my head. Sure. He flashed that smile, rose, and extended a hand. Catch you then, critter whisperer. I swatted his arm playfully. Never use that term again. Promise, he teased, since it nails you. Walking back, a persistent grin clung to my lips. Home at last, I kicked off my shoes, collapsed onto the couch, zoned out, and fired a note to Vanessa. He's legit, and he snagged cinnamon buns on his own. Didn't mind a bit. Her comeback zipped in fast. Seems risky. Buckle up. I left it unread, screen down. But inwardly, I sensed the safety gear was long gone. By Thursday night, the clinic dragged on past regular hours. Back-to-back crises right at shift's end. A feline struggling for air, a pup who'd gulped down a sock. When I finally shed my lab coat, night had fallen. Exhausted, reeking of fur and antiseptic, still my cell buzzed insistently in my pocket, alive and insistent. Swing by. I'm in the kitchen. My repertoire's limited to 3 dishes, but this one's killer. Chris. I fixed on the words. Inside, exhaustion swirled with intrigue and a hint of forbidden thrill. Yeah. What's on the menu? I replied. Spaghetti aglio e olio. Straightforward, genuine, with a kick. Kinda like yours truly. A quiet chuckle escaped in the deserted corridor, echoed only by the fridge's drone. Betting I make it through. Bring vino, though. His place sat in Prospect Heights. 3rd story, stairs only, no lift. I huffed a little, reaching the landing, bottle clamped under one arm. He swung the door wide, toes bare in a faded gray tee, beaming. Hey, critter whisperer, cut that out. Won't. He moved back to usher me inside. Official moniker now. Garlic and citrus perfumed his space. The light Y. It wasn't luxurious, and the place hadn't come from some fancy catalog, but rather pieced together bit by bit. Books piled high everywhere, a vintage guitar hanging on the wall, and there was Nola sprawled on the couch, who perked up and trotted right over to me. I gave her a good scratch behind the ears, and she shut her eyes like she'd been waiting for my arrival the whole time. She takes to you, he called out from the kitchen. Normally, she puts folks through a longer trial run. I'm a wizard at winning over pets, though. Guess that seals my fate. He sliced through garlic with quick motions. Oil simmered gently in the skillet as tunes drifted from a compact speaker. Al Green's Let's Stay Together. Sappy, right? He remarked. But it works, I shot back. We sipped some wine. He shared stories of his gigs, the mess of unpaid bills, a customer dragging their feet on payment for weeks. He cracked light jokes about it all, yet briefly, his gaze turned shadowed in a way I decided to overlook. I opened up about the vet office, about how Princess had pulled off another regal performance that day, treating her shot like an insult to her royal status. He paid close attention, posed thoughtful queries, and chuckled precisely when it fit. Once the noodles were done, he dished them out and settled opposite me at the table. "Be straight with me," he urged. "I can take the feedback." I took a bite. Olive oil, garlic, a kick of chili. Basic ingredients, yet tasty. I gave a thumbs up. "Spot on. You've got skills here." "Yeah, at least one talent in the bag, perhaps a couple," he said with a sly smile. "And the other." Heat flooded my cheeks, and I dropped my eyes to the plate fast. Afterward, we lounged on his couch. Nola nestled by my legs while the soundtrack kept humming along. We chatted about growing up, the little everyday stuff. He mentioned he'd kicked a ball around in his youth, but always favored picking up the guitar instead, because strumming let you be real, no faking it. I confessed to the unread volumes gathering dust on my shelves, held back by fear they might let me down. "Just let them sit," he suggested. "Stories on hold are like unspoken vows." I agreed with a nod. Exactly my take. Eventually, his fingers brushed over mine lightly. Nothing dramatic, no tug, just a steady, comforting press. We avoided eye contact. Conversation flowed on seamlessly, like the shift hadn't happened, though deep down it had flipped everything. When I stood to head out, night had fallen way later than expected. I shrugged into my coat. He swung the door wide. "Mind if I ring you up tomorrow?" he wondered. "You will regardless," I teased. "Guilty as charged," he grinned. Then he dipped in, but skipped the kiss. Only a soft murmur against my cheek, intimate and tender. "Glad you stopped by." Descending the steps, Nola let out a single resonant woof, like a farewell salute. Back at my apartment, garlic lingered on my skin. I slipped under the covers, Al Green's melody looping in my mind. Let's stay together. Eyes closed, and for the first stretch in ages, quiet didn't overwhelm me as I drifted off. Saturday dawned crisp and sunny, the urban sprawl gleaming like it had just had a rinse. We linked up near the Hudson, strolled the walkway, swapping thoughts on films, go-to eateries, all the light topics that still clicked effortlessly. His palm slipped into mine without fanfare, not insistent, merely present. I didn't pull away, sensing that easy glow unfurl in my gut, free of doubts. We perched on a short ledge, feet swinging above the waves. Nola dozed nearby. Sunlight danced across the current, and suddenly it hit me. This is how fresh starts feel. Next came his offhand remark, tossed out like chit-chat about the forecast. It wears on me at times, you get me. These perpetual bills that stay ignored. I pour in the effort, cover every base, then I'm left hanging for cash that never shows. My balance is like it sprung a leak. He chuckled briefly. Almost sorry, but mirth didn't reach his eyes. I knit my brows. Sounds rough. It is, but that's the freelance grind for you. Peaks and valleys. Lately, more lows. He petted Nola's fur. No sweat, I'll sort it. Part of me itched to dig deeper, gauge the real depth of the issue, but he pivoted smoothly. Better yet, describe riding a bike through a downpour. So I did. I described Luna, that rush when droplets lash your skin, but you pedal on, the pulse overpowering the storm. He tuned in, bobbed his head, grinned, and I dropped the money talk. That night, I fired off a quick note to Vanessa. He's dealing with cash woes, but brushes it off with humor. Feels genuine to me. Her comeback was swift. "Maya, folks who downplay it that way hope you'll do the same. Watch yourself." I hammered out a reply, erased it, paused. In the end, I settled on, "helmet strapped on." Except it was a lie. I ditched it ages back. 7 days on, I found myself in his kitchen once more, Al Green murmuring low in the air. Pasta again, pesto this round as we dreamed up trips we'd skipped and future getaways. Midway through, he let out a heavy breath, massaging his nape. "Maya, I hate to make it seem like I'm leaning on you, but next week's a nightmare. The rent. Usually no sweat, but that client's 3 weeks overdue. It's awkward to even say it. I gazed at him slumped there, shoulders slumped low, gaze full of apparent sincerity. At least that's the vibe I got. My pulse raced wildly. My thoughts howled in protest. Chloe had warned, take it easy with your cash. Vanessa would have hollered right in my face. Hold off. Yet all I could hear was my inner agreement echoing back. What's the amount? I murmured softly. He shook his head slowly. No, Maya, don't. I don't want you feeling pressured. Chris. I rested my palm over his. I'm inquiring because I choose to. He held my stare for what felt like ages, his expression piercing right through me. Just hold on till Monday, I swear it. I dipped my head in agreement. Monday. Such a straightforward term, pure like a vow, yet sharp as a knife when you don't sense the slice until it's too late. Back in my room, under the covers, I flipped restlessly. I convinced myself it was fine to support someone you care about, that it wasn't an issue at all, that affection sometimes calls for stepping up during tough spots. Still, a quiet twist lingered deep in my gut. I brushed it off. He'd settle up by Monday. The following Monday arrived, along with that nagging discomfort that had rooted in my belly overnight. At the vet office, I was steadying a jittery spaniel's muzzle for its teeth exam when my cell buzzed inside my coat. A stolen peek on my break revealed a text from Chris. Appreciate it once more, Maya. You're pulling me through this mess. Transfer coming your way this evening. Cross my heart. I inhaled deeply, replied, no worries, chill out. But inwardly I pleaded, stick to it, please. Once my shift ended, I headed right over to his spot. I needed to gauge his vibe in person, beyond mere pixels. His flat carried that familiar aroma of garlic mixed with citrus. Al Green drifted gently from the speakers, and Nola bounded over, tail whipping excitedly. Chris stood in the kitchen area, face eased like the weight had lifted. You're actually here. He pulled me into an embrace, squeezing until air felt scarce. You have no idea how much this saves me. I was teetering on the edge. For real. And you're what kept me from crumbling entirely. I managed a faint grin. Chris, you're overdoing it. Nah, for serious. He locked eyes with me, tone dropping low. I'll hand it over this evening, or by morning at the farthest. The absolute last thing I want is to let you down. I acknowledged it, desperate to trust, and for a moment, I did. Come lunchtime the next day, I joined Vanessa at the coffee shop. She propped her elbow, chin in hand, eyeing me closely. You've got this off look. Off, like foggy, as though something's buried inside. I chomped my pastry. He hit a brief cash snag. I lent a hand. No major deal. Her gaze sharpened. Maya, Vic, come on. It wasn't much, and he's reimbursing soon. It's only been 3 weeks since you met. Yeah, and you still haven't clocked the real him without the favors flowing your way. I went quiet, fixating on my dish. Maya, listen, this isn't to sting you, but it's the classic playbook move. First the charm, then fake candor, then the ask for funds. He's not like that, I shot back, voice milder than planned. She covered my hand with hers. You wish he wasn't. Wishing and reality aren't twins. I denied it with a head shake, sipped my brew, and the scald in my throat went beyond the steam. That night, another ping lit up my screen. Bank glitches hit hard today. Payment heading out in the morning. Pinky swear. I fixed on the display forever. Morning. Once more. I hammered out, fine, relax. But conviction faded this round. 2 days on, 0 payment, 0 trace, only empty assurances. I raised it on a call. So Chris, the cash situation. Oh, Maya, you sound just like my accountant. He chuckled. It's en route. For sure. By morning. Word of honor. I plastered on a grin he couldn't catch. All right, but you trust me? Yeah. Sure. Though my insides were waving no in silence. Vanessa shot me a note that evening. Strap that helmet snugger. I stashed my device. Refused to admit she had the upper hand. Not right then. The barn served as my haven. It always had, even back in my kid days when home felt chaotic. Equines see through deception. They echo your inner state. Doubt makes them balk. Fear sets them on edge. Authenticity. They gallop alongside like you've sprouted feathers. That Wednesday dusk, air crisp, heavens dimming, I approached Luna. She stretched her neck toward me, huffing gently, then poked at my coat's side. I laughed lightly. Yeah, treat time. I fished out a carrot. She nipped it daintily with her mouth, like she outclassed any royal. I curried her at a leisurely pace, stroking her hide that shimmered amber under the barn glow. Fingers worked on instinct, but thoughts wandered far. To Chris, his chuckle, how he spun troubles into breezes, the debt hanging unpaid. I replayed my words from days prior. Yeah, I trust you entirely. And Vanessa's caution rang clear again. Wishing he's different, that's worlds from truth. I set the tool down, pressed my brow to Luna's flank briefly. She felt toasty, scented with fresh straw and the heat of summer. She let out another snort like she was replying to me. You get what the issue is, Luna, I murmured. My brain keeps sketching these images for me and my instincts scream they're fake, but I prefer believing the images since they're so much nicer. Luna pawed the ground with her hoof. I couldn't help but chuckle. A quick, sharp burst of laughter. Sure, I get it. I really do. I know. Up in the saddle, things didn't improve. I guided her at a walk, then picked up to a trot, feeling her rhythm under me. Usually these moments cleared everything up. Not this time. The tension lingered. I sensed my posture was rigid, fingers clutching the reins way too firm. Luna responded right away, flattening her ears and flinging her head high. I drew in a slow breath, relaxed my grip, and she settled. But the point hit home. I can't keep pace with you like this. And just then, it clicked. That's the core of it. I'm clinging to Chris because releasing him scares me, but my grip's too fierce. He senses it, twists it to his advantage. I halted, bent down, and ran my hand along Luna's neck. Appreciate it. You're way more straightforward than he ever is. Back home that night, lying in bed, sleep evaded me. I flipped and fidgeted, his chuckle echoing in my thoughts, his assurances replaying. I'll settle up tomorrow, I swear. Beside them, Vanessa's tone cut through, steady and icy. It's the classic ploy. My instincts had already ruled. Just my emotions wouldn't face facts. Vanessa was there ahead of me at the coffee shop. She perched in her usual spot, facing the entrance. A habit from work she never shook. A straight black espresso steamed before her, and she absently swirled it, despite skipping the sugar. Maya. She grinned, rose, and pulled me into a quick, solid embrace. You seem worn out. I dropped into the seat, shrugging off my coat. Endless shifts at the vet and the barn. You get the drill. She arched a brow. Or is it Chris? I sighed dramatically. Vic, seriously, let's not. She reclined in her chair. Spill it. What's the deal with him? I paused, gazing into my cappuccino, idly stirring the froth. He's hit a rough patch. Cash flow, nothing huge. A client stiffed him. Rent's pressing. I loaned him a bit, just short term. Vanessa stayed quiet, fixing me with that gaze that spoke volumes without a sound. What? I snapped, sharper than intended. Maya, she started deliberately. You've been seeing him, 3 weeks? Make it 4. And by week 4, he's hitting you up for money. He didn't push. He laid it out straight, no games. I chose to pitch in. Has he repaid it? I compressed my mouth. Not so far, but he will. He gave his word. Vanessa cocked her head, taking a sip of her coffee. Gave his word. Guys smooth with promises often rehearse them plenty. Vic. I set my mug down with a thud, the spoon rattling. Not all dudes are scammers. Not everybody schemes. You're in law enforcement. You spot crooks in every shadow. But I refuse to view the world that way nonstop. I get it, she replied gently. That's precisely why I'm warning you. To keep your eyes open. I fixed on the tabletop. Fists knotted. He's not like that. I sense it deep down. Vanessa went quiet briefly, then she covered my hand with hers. Maya, I'm not rooting against him. I'm backing you. Big distinction. I met her eyes, words failing me, lodged in my chest. So I gave a nod, part reluctant, part stubborn. Heading back, her advice looped in my mind. He's not like that. I sense it deep down, but so did her counter. Gave his word. Guys smooth with promises often rehearse them plenty. Sandwiched between was my intuition, which had grasped the truth ages ago, even as my feelings resisted. On Monday, I'd wrangled a jittery dachshund all morning. It couldn't pick between snapping at me or snuggling. During lunch, when I finally checked my phone, Chris's text glowed. Bank's messing around, transfers delayed. It'll land tomorrow, I swear. That term once more. I eyed the screen while my coffee cooled in my grasp. That night he rang. His tone wrapped around me, cozy, maybe overly so, as usual. Maya, honest, it's minor. I chased the bank again today. Sorted by tomorrow. Tomorrow, I echoed, holding back the edge in my voice. Hey, you doubting me? He chuckled, but it rang hollow. Naturally, I replied. Absolutely, I trust you. Yet the second I ended the call, my gut twisted. Tuesday brought zilch, no deposit. I messaged, he shot back, damn, still nothing today, they're hopeless. I'll hand it over in cash once it's cleared. Cool. I read the reply till the letters swam. Vanessa phoned. He square up yet? No, but blame the bank, not on him. Quiet stretched across the line, then a heavy exhale. Maya, snap out of it. Vic, enough. You always leap to disaster. Occasionally, delays are just delays. Occasionally, sure, but other times, nope. Your instincts clocked this ages ago. I refuse to listen, and that's the issue. I cut her off before more could follow. A couple of days afterward, I found myself back in his place. Nola bounded toward me with pure joy, tail wagging wildly. Chris flashed a warm smile, pulled me in for a quick kiss. Hey, sorry this whole thing's been dragging out. I really hate it myself. But come next week, I've got a huge payout coming in. I'll settle every bit of it right then. Next week. Absolutely. And after that, we'll celebrate properly. Just you and me. His grin softened, the one that always melted my resolve. I agreed, even as my instincts screamed in protest. Back at my apartment, I sat in the shadows. Lights dimmed, scrolling through pictures of Luna on my screen. Her eyes seemed to stare back, whispering, "You already know what's real." Yet I held on tight to his expression, his tone, the illusion I yearned to trust. It was Friday night, with heavy rain drumming on the panes, when my cell buzzed. Chris. I picked up at once. His words carried that edge right away, signaling tough news ahead. Maya, I've hit a snag. My insides twisted instantly. Not the way you're imagining, he rushed on, voice hurried and faint. My MacBook's toast. Screen's gone dark. No way I can get anything done without it. And no work means no cash flow whatsoever. I get how this might seem like a cop-out, but it's essential gear. My livelihood hangs on it. I didn't respond. Just the steady downpour filling my ears. Steadier than my pulse. I'll reimburse you the moment that major client transfer hits, I promise. But stuck laptopless, I can't finish a thing. Then he'll bail on paying me. It's all connected, you see. How much? I murmured. Around 1,000 or 200 maybe. My mind reeled, stomach churning, but my emotions conjured his gaze instead, the one from when he murmured, "The last thing I want is to let you down." I'm not sure, Chris. Maya. His tone shifted to gentle urgency. Right now, you're the brightest spot in my chaos. I can't risk losing you over my screw-ups. Please. I bit my lip hard. Every fiber urged me to refuse, but the word lodged deep. Fine, I'll cover it, but never again. This is it, I vow. That same night, I sent the funds. Afterward, I tossed in bed, eyes fixed on the blank ceiling, sleep evading me. My mind whirled. It's merely a temporary lend. He relies on me. I'm in love. Whispering alongside was a nagging doubt. You're getting played. Vanessa rang the following morning. Any updates? I hesitated, tempted to fib, but she caught the waiver instantly. Maya, what happened? He needed cash for his computer. The amount doesn't matter. Maya. Her reply came firm, like an order. 1 in 200. A pause hung heavy, followed by a deep sigh. He's draining you dry. Time to cut it off. He depends on me, I breathed. No, it's your wallet he's after, and you need to face facts. I gulped. Vic, you're not saying he's scamming me, are you? I'm saying guard yourself. I hate the thought of you left broke and alone. I ended the call. Her honesty cut too deep, and I wasn't prepared to accept it. Saturday dawned bright and unseasonably balmy. Chris mentioned he'd be tied up with his sibling all weekend. Family event, a bit hectic but meaningful, he'd explained. Over the line, I wished him well and mused, finally, some breathing room for me. Mornings went to the barn, where I brushed Luna extra carefully, watched her prance in the enclosure. Her fur shone under the sun, and she flicked her mane like she was declaring, "This is true liberty." I chuckled, a rare ease washing over me, close to freedom itself. Yet that afternoon, heading back, a recognizable yip pierced the air. I froze. It echoed from the alley near Chris's building. Dread pooled low in my belly. "Nola," I whispered. I crept forward, hoping to blend into nothing. Sure enough, there was Nola, tethered to a neighbor I'd glimpsed in the hallway before. "Hello, Maya," the woman greeted warmly. "Chris had errands, so I'm minding her briefly." My throat went parched. "Oh, right, with his brother." She paused, brow furrowing. "No, he mentioned work stuff, deadlines or something." It felt like my thoughts fractured. I managed a tight smile. "Got it. Enjoy your weekend." "You as well," she replied, tugging the pup away, her yaps ringing in my skull. Home alone, I slumped on the couch for ages, gaze lost on the blank wall. My emotions scrambled for justifications. Perhaps he'd visited family, but squeezed in a quick task first. Or the fib was minor, just delayed plans. But deep down, intuition quietly denied it all. That night, his message pinged. "All good over here. Family's rowdy but fun." Staring at it, nausea rose. Deception. Still, I typed back, "Sounds great. Greet them for me." Short and done. Sunday brunch with Vanessa and the dam broke. I poured it out. He claimed brother time, but Nola ended up with the neighbor. She arched a brow. Classic. Perhaps he wrapped up work early and skipped details. Maya. Her words turned pointed. It was straightforward and composed. He's deceiving you. Full stop. How can you be so sure? Because I am. It's written all over your face. Deep down, you sense it too. I shook my head, gazing down into my mug. This can't be happening. Not right now. Hold off then, but stay alert. That night at home, I tossed and turned in bed. Chris's words kept replaying in my mind. "I hate letting you down." And right beside them, Nola's sharp tone. So vivid, so near. As he spoke of family, these two clashing realities swirled around me, leaving me caught in the center, squeezed between my desires and the harsh reality. Monday kicked off without a hitch. Chris texted me a selfie from some unfamiliar living room. Family hangout, lol, my bro whips up killer scrambled eggs. He beamed in the shot, beer in hand. I held my phone nearer, scrutinizing the image like it held some hidden defect. 2 hours on, as I brushed Luna's hooves in the barn, his Instagram story lit up my screen. A workspace desk, monitor crammed with lines of code, a mug of coffee nearby. "Crunch time over the weekend, this is brutal," the text said. I fixated on the caption, then the scene. That wasn't any family room. Nope, not his brother. Straight up office grind. And later that afternoon, a direct note to me. "Apologies for going radio silent. My bro's little ones are wild like a packed arena. 3 tales, 3 excuses. A switch flipped in my brain like a bolt locking into place." That night, I perched in Chloe's kitchen once we'd secured the clinic. She brewed some tea, set the mugs down, and eyed me closely. Your mind's miles away. I paused, then pulled out my phone and shared the screen grabs. Notice all these inconsistencies. Chloe examined them all, swiping through repeatedly before setting the device aside. Maya, you've got killer intuition as a woman. You soothe pups, felines, even bunnies, sensing their panic before a snarl or spit escapes. So why ignore that same vibe for your own sake? I went quiet. My fingers clenched the mug like a lifeline. Your instincts have spoken, Chloe murmured gently. It's just your emotions blocking the message. I gulped hard, my vision blurred with heat. But what if I mess up? What if he's merely disorganized? Then you drop a fantasy, yet if you're spot on, you protect yourself. Afterwards, solo on my couch, I revisited those 3 captures over and over. The selfie, the post, the text, 3 realms clashing head-on, and me, tangled right in the midst, like a stubborn knot refusing to budge. For once, I skipped replying to him. I shoved my phone away, grabbed a novel, and absorbed not a word. Vanessa settled opposite me at our go-to cafe spot, her work jacket slung loosely over the seat back. She sipped her espresso, slammed the cup down sharply, and locked eyes with me. Maya, cut the fluff. He's playing you. I recoiled. Vic, wait, hear me out. 3 separate yarns in a single weekend. Brother 1 minute, job the next, then noisy kids. And here you are, justifying it all. Perhaps I caught my own voice like an outsider scripting the lines. Perhaps he simply spared me the load. Perhaps shame kept him from clarifying. Vanessa huffed. Or plain old dishonesty. I peered into my cappuccino. The froth now collapsed into swirls. You haven't a clue about the real deal. Oh, but I do, she replied. It's obvious in your demeanor. This isn't the Maya who chuckles in the barn when Luna gets feisty. This is the Maya losing sleep, terrified her feelings led her astray. And guess who's to blame? I bit my lip, my nails pressing into my jeans. I care for him deeply. Nope. Vanessa's tone held steady, though her gaze softened. You cherish the notion of him, the fantasy of someone truly noticing you, listening, embracing you. But that guy, he just eyes your cash. I raised my chin, moisture pooling in my eyes. Why assume he's not the exception? Vanessa exhaled slowly, then covered my hand with hers. Because I get you, and I see how fiercely you cling when release feels scary. I won't let you slip away, Maya, especially not to a user. Words failed me. I just dipped my head, though my whole body rebelled with a silent no. Back home, my phone buzzed. Chris. I glared at the display forever. Finally, I picked up. Hey, animal whisperer, he murmured warmly. You good? Vanessa's warning echoed, he only sees your money. Yet my pulse countered. Perhaps that's not it. All fine here, I breathed, fully aware it rang false. It was a Tuesday night, well past closing at the clinic. I lounged on my couch with a mug of tea when Vanessa appeared unannounced at my threshold. No heads up, no ring, her expression grave, posture rigid, a signal for real urgency. Mind if I step inside? She queried, though the invite was obvious. Sure, I replied, setting my drink aside. Problem. She stayed on her feet, not settling, fists tucked into her coat. Ma, yeah, I went ahead and did what I shouldn't have. My pulse raced. What are you talking about? I looked into him. Chris. My skin prickled with chills and heat all at once. Vic, you just can't go snooping like that. Oh, but I did because I need to keep you safe. I shook my head, ready to argue, but she eased some printed sheets from her coat pocket. Official police docs, case IDs, victim names. He's faced complaints over and over for scams. It's this recurring scheme. He charms women, squeezes cash from them, skips repayment, spins endless alibis. I gaped at the documents, the words swimming before my eyes. That's impossible. It is possible. It's real. Perhaps it's another Chris, a guy sharing the name. My words quivered. No, Maya. Birth date, home address. It all lines up perfectly. I shook my head again, tears stinging my eyes. But he's nothing like that. He really hears me. He gets me. He whips up meals for me. He owns NOLA. He's a swindler. Vanessa's tone was steady, yet I caught the pain laced in it. I slumped onto the couch, clutching the sheets, their weight suddenly crushing despite being mere paper. No, I murmured. No, I refuse to buy it. Not about Chris. Vanessa settled beside me, draping an arm over my shoulders. Maya, I get how this stings, but you need to face it, ignore it, and it'll drag you down. I shook my head once more, hiding my face in my palms. I can't. I won't. And that's how I ended up there, gripping the documents, desperately holding on to the fantasy I refused to release. The barn felt hushed that night. Just the gentle scrape of hooves, the rustle of straw, some bird cooing up in the beams. I headed to Luna. Her head rose right away, a soft whinny escaping like she sensed I craved extra comfort. I groomed her fur in lazy sweeps, the rhythm almost meditative, as though it might sort out the mess in my mind. But my thoughts were a whirlwind. Chris's tone, his vows, his chuckles, clashing against those files Vanessa handed over. Stark facts in ink, records, timelines, identities that defied dismissal. I murmured while working through Luna's forelock. He's not that way. He couldn't be. That might have been old history. He could be reformed now. Possibly. Luna flattened her ears, not aggressive, but signaling unease. Equines pick up on tension like that. I let out a shaky chuckle. You see through me too, don't you? She huffed once more, pawing the ground restlessly, as if urging, "Quit fooling yourself." I pressed my brow to her flank. But suppose I misjudged everything. Suppose I just ignored the signs because I craved romance that badly. A knot formed inside me. I itched to message Chris, meet up, hear him insist it was all a mix-up. Yet deep down, I realized the truth was already in front of me. Back at my place later, I grabbed my cell. His contact glowed. Fresh text. Hey, apologies for going quiet today. Work's been hectic. Missing you. I eyed the message. Brief, shallow, offering none of the reassurance I sought. My thumbs lingered above the keys. I nearly typed, "Are you straight with me?" Or, "What's your real deal?" Instead, I settled on, "No worries. Take it easy." Then I flung the phone aside onto the cushions and covered my face again. Luna had nailed it. My instincts screamed it. Even my logic was catching on. Just my heart held out, stubborn as a kid baffled by life's harshness. It was a Thursday, getting late. I lingered at the vet office organizing vials into cabinets when my phone buzzed. Chris, I picked up fast, though a nagging dread told me trouble was brewing. His words tumbled out ragged and pressing. "Maya, I hate repeating myself, but I've hit a snag. One final favor, swear, then it's done for good." My gut clenched instantly. What's the issue this time? Just a bill needing quick payment? Or they'll lock my funds and it all crumbles. Begging you, I'll settle up the second my payout hits. Days, tops. I went quiet. My fingers shook a bit. I fixed on the tidy rows of tiny containers in the shelf, so orderly while my world spun in disarray. "Maya, talk to me." "Chris." My reply cracked. "I can't keep bailing you out. No more loans from me." The line stayed dead for moments, then his inflection shifted when he broke the silence. I figured as much. "What exactly? You doubt me. You're no different from the rest. All sweet and supportive up front, but when stakes rise, you flip." I should have seen you'd turn out the same. My throat tightened. The rest. Yeah. He pressed on, his edge turning icy, nearly mocking. "You figure you're unique, but nah, you're in the lineup. Same old script. You play saviors but bail when it matters." "Chris," I choked out, "I've poured so much into this, beyond my limits, and now you're calling me the quitter." He scoffed, sharp and sour. "Maya, you're nothing exceptional. You were simply handy. Those barbs struck deeper than any deception yet. They hit me like a brutal blow to the stomach, stealing my breath entirely. I was speechless, frozen. "You know what?" "Never mind," he snapped at last, his tone icy and clipped. "I'll deal with this on my own." With that, he ended the call. I remained there for what felt like ages, clutching the phone, paralyzed. Deep within, the memory of his gentle grin from our time in Central Park had vanished. Gone, too, was the guy who'd whipped up pasta for me and clasped my hand so tenderly. All that lingered was chill, harsh reality. Silent tears rolled down my cheeks, and in that quiet void, I realized Vanessa had nailed it right from the start. Vanessa arrived that very evening. I hadn't reached out or messaged her, but she appeared at my doorstep anyway, sensing as she always did when I was at my breaking point. She gripped a folder against her chest like it guarded some guarded truth. "Maya," she murmured gently, "this has to stop. You need to face it all." I ushered her inside without a word, and we settled at the kitchen table. My eyes locked on the folder, a wave of nausea hitting me before she even flipped it open. "I hate that I'm doing this to you," she started, yet I couldn't just sit idle any longer, especially not after the bombshell you dropped over the phone. I shook my head. He seemed worlds apart at first. My words came out in a faint murmur. Vanessa inhaled deeply and parted the folder. Documents, printouts, legal summaries, all stark and unyielding. Lists of women's names, scam complaints, hefty financial figures, account records following the identical scheme. Seductive, personal, reliable, followed by cash, substantial amounts. "Look here," she indicated one line. 2 years back, identical scam. Virtual connection vows reimbursements that never materialized. $4,300. I fixated on that entry, struggling to catch my breath. And this one from last year, $2,000. The victim even took him to court. The matter's still pending. My gut twisted. Every fiber of me rebelled against her revelations. "And here's this," Vanessa pressed on, her tone gaining strength. "From earlier this year, 3 complaints lodged at once, 3 women, 3 tales echoing yours." I denied it vehemently, fresh tears flowing. No, Vic, it can't be. He was so captivating, so caring, so genuine." She softened, resting her hand over mine. "That's precisely what makes his scheme so effective. He understands women's desires and doles them out just enough to claim his prize." I met her eyes, my mouth quivering, and I was merely another in the line. "Not quite," Vanessa replied, her look kind despite the tough message. "You were his upcoming mark. That's the key distinction, but now it's your choice whether you'll be his final one." I broke down, hiding my face in my palms. She drew me into an embrace. "It's not on you, Maya. Trusting wasn't a sin, but from here you must push back." I managed a nod amid the sobs, words failing me, yet buried under the hurt, embarrassment, and letdown, a flicker sparked, raw fury. The evening following Vanessa's arrival dragged on endlessly. I flipped restlessly in bed, sleep eluding me. Each noise amplified my pounding heartbeat. Chris's barbs replayed relentlessly, like sharp pricks. "You're nothing unique, just handy." I shoved the pillow over my face, hoping to crush the recollections, but they clung stubbornly. Around 3:00 a.m., I rose. At the kitchen table, I grabbed a notebook, the one for jotting recipes and errands, and flipped it open. My fingers shook, but I documented it all. Sum, $800. Supposed rental bank glitch. Sum, $1,200. MacBook smashed. Sum, $300. Power bill. Lesser amounts, $50, $100, $200. Cabs, food runs, pet needs. I added the timelines, the instances he swore the funds would wire over soon. I logged the texts, the alibis, glitchy banks, pending client payouts. I hate dragging you into this, but once finished, I gazed at the compilation. It stood plain and detached, no allure, no grin, no whimsical pet story, merely figures, pretexts, deceptions. Tears traced my skin once more, but a fresh sensation emerged. Unyielding resolve, rage, aimed not only at him but at my own naivety, for ignoring the warnings my instincts had screamed from the outset. The following day, I shared it with Vanessa. We gathered in her kitchen, the aroma of fresh coffee filling the space. She scanned the sheets, nodding thoughtfully. "Solid work, Maya. These are proofs. Add in the right backups, screenshots, transactions, conversations, and we've got a case." "A case for what?" I ventured softly. "For filing a claim, for accountability, for payback if that's your term." I chewed my lip. Payback feels so gritty. At times, it's simply reclaiming what's yours. I studied her intently, and for the first time in weeks, I sensed I wasn't merely prey anymore. I was ready to counter-strike. That night, I penned more, but not to Chris this time. I addressed myself, scrawling a line at the page's head. I was among the countless, but I'll ensure I'm the final. Come morning, I peered into the eye. I gazed into the mirror with weary eyes and realized a shift had occurred. Gone were the endless loops of wondering, why would he pull that on me? Instead, a crisp, resolute idea took hold. I'm going to reclaim what's mine. At the vet clinic, Chloe picked up on it right away. "There's something new about you," she remarked as we administered shots to a yapping Jack Russell that buzzed like a power tool, as if you're gearing up to take down a target. "Close enough," I replied softly. She arched a brow but let it drop, and I appreciated the space. That night, I found myself in Vanessa's kitchen once more. She draped her work jacket across a seat. Her computer screen glowed, and she'd pulled her hair into a strict ponytail. Her expression lit up with purpose. "All right," she started. "Let's handle this properly. Keep a record of it all, Maya. Each text, every assurance, every payment sent." I agreed with a nod. "I've begun compiling the details already. Excellent." She grabbed my journal and scanned the pages. "Still, we require solid evidence. Captures of screens, financial records, and capture his words on audio whenever he speaks. Audio recordings." "Absolutely. The next time he requests funds, get him to state the figures clearly, ideally in a voice note." "That's pure gold." I gulped. "But what if he senses something off?" Vanessa flashed a sly smile. "Mirror his tactics on you then. Play sweet and naive. Tell him you just want that reassurance he'll repay you. He'll think he's got the upper hand, and that's your opening to trap him." I chewed my lower lip. "Vic, this terrifies me." "Totally understandable," she assured me, resting her palm over mine. "But now, you're not facing it solo. You've got my support and the honesty on your side. Those beat any deception he spins." Over the following days, I operated like a covert operative, vet tech during daylight hours, investigator after dark. I pored over our conversations, snapping photos of messages and archiving audio clips. I outputted statements from the bank and underscored the outgoing wires. And I kept adding to my journal, not merely the figures, but the emotions too. The way tomorrow from him always stung, how my heart clenched when another deadline passed empty. I aimed for the authorities to grasp not only the data, but the scars he'd inflicted. Then arrived the opportunity Vanessa had anticipated. Chris rang late that night, his tone fatigued and urgent. "Maya, I get that this is repetitive, but one last favor. I beg. Just this once. It's for a bill heading to collections." I drew in a steadying breath, aiming to remain composed. "Fine, but Chris, could you specify the exact sum? I have to note it for my records." "Of course," he responded without hesitation. $500. I'll reimburse you early next week once my client's payment arrives. Promise." His words hummed through my device, with my phone capturing every bit. Once we hung up, I jotted just a single line in my journal. He believes he's still in control, but now the tables have turned on him. Vanessa had nailed it. This mirrored detective duties, only I embodied both the sleuth and the injured party. I perched at my dining table, surrounded by piles of documents and my open laptop. Each remittance to him stood out in bold marker, aligned beside its counterpart. I arranged them by timeline and added vibrant tabs for quick reference. Rent, $800 on March 14th. MacBook $1,200 on March 28th. Utilities $300 on April 4th. Beside those sat a binder stuffed with image grabs, exchanges where he'd vowed, "Sending it over tomorrow, you have my word," or "You're my rock right now." I dated each and paired them with the financial proofs. Vanessa dropped by soon after in everyday attire, clutching a fizzy drink, her focus sharp. "Impressive start," she commented, reorganizing the sheets into a tidier array. "You've basically built half the file already." "It seems like I'm picking apart my entire existence," I muttered. "That's precisely it, but believe me, it's essential. Without this depth, skeptics might dismiss you." The toughest piece was the audio clip. I let Vanessa hear it. Chris's timbre, so recognizable yet abruptly alien, sending shivers through me. $500. "I'll square up next week when the client funds hit. I swear." She inclined her head thoughtfully. That alone could carry weight, but layering on more strengthens it. She borrowed my device and demonstrated secure storage methods. "Duplicate it all onto a USB stick. Avoid online storage. That way he can't erase anything if he accesses your phone somehow." "You reckon he'd go that far, Maya?" Her tone turned steely. "He's siphoned thousands from you without a second thought. So why would your device be sacred?" A shiver traced my back. In the days that followed, I navigated dual realities. Mornings meant caring for pets, soothing clients, and sharing chuckles with Chloe like routine held steady. Evenings transformed my place into a repository of proof. I printed reams, categorized stacks, and marked key spots. My journal brimmed now, sheet by sheet crammed with figures, timelines, and excerpts. At times, my fingers shook revisiting those dialogues, how I'd trusted him repeatedly, how I'd allowed myself to be drawn back in. Yet with each entry, a growing fortitude emerged. Every entry marked progress beyond powerlessness. Come Sunday night, Vanessa and I reconvened in her kitchen. She laid out the papers across the surface, and he gazed at me intently. "Maya, this is powerful stuff. You've got transfers, texts, audio clips. Once we hand this over to the cops, he's done for." I managed a nod, though my words came out shaky. What if he comes after me? What if he figures out it was me who turned him in? Vanessa squeezed my hand gently. "I'll have your back, and so will the authorities. You're not facing this solo anymore." I met her eyes, and for the first time in weeks, a flicker of hope stirred. Maybe, just maybe, I could break free once more. The strategy sounded straightforward, at least in theory. I'd see him one last time, acting uncertain, like I might still pitch in. Meanwhile, I'd capture it all on tape, every demand, every figure, every vow. Vanessa had prepped me like a rookie cramming for finals. Keep your cool, let him ramble. Toss in subtle nods to keep him going. No hints of doubt, no pushback. He needs to believe he's reeled you back in. I agreed, but just imagining it set my pulse racing. We picked a low-key coffee shop in the city's heart. Saturday at 3 p.m. Surrounded by crowds, safety in numbers. I got there ahead of time, claiming a spot near the window. My cell sat out on the table, recorder running. Palms sweaty, I rubbed them on my jeans. Then he showed up, Chris in his usual denim and bomber jacket, flashing that grin that once melted me. But now I saw the darkness it hid. "Maya," he greeted, sliding into the seat opposite like old times were back. "Great to catch up." "Likewise," I said, keeping my tone steady enough. We grabbed coffees and chatted idly, nothing deep. Soon he leaned in, palms flat on the table, face turning grave. "Maya, I get that our last chat bombed, but cut me some slack. I'm drowning in stress these days. If I don't cover this bill, it's over for me. Rock bottom." I tilted my head thoughtfully. "How much are we talking?" He let out a breath like he'd been holding it. $2,000 this round. But you're not on your own here. I'll reimburse you the second my major payout hits from that client. Pinky promise. I mean it. I locked eyes with him. 2,000, I echoed quietly. Yeah. His tone turned soft, almost desperate. Maya, you're the greatest thing in my life. Can't bear losing you. Give me another shot, trust me. My device caught every syllable. I dipped my chin slowly, pretending to soften. Perhaps I could swing it, but only if you're dead serious about repaying. Absolutely, he pressed closer, eyes lighting up. Want it in black and white. I'll return every cent, no question. Hate the idea of letting you down. All right, I murmured. Repeat that for me, Chris. I need to lock it in. He chuckled, assuming I was teasing. Fine. I owe you $2,000, and repayment's coming next week once the client's money clears. Happy now? I forced a faint smile and nodded. Totally. 30 minutes later, we stood. He pulled me into a tight embrace, murmuring, "Thanks for giving me another chance." I stayed silent. My fingers shook, but inside, a strange peace settled. I had the proof. On the sidewalk, I spotted Vanessa blending into the throng in plain clothes. Our glances connected. She tipped her head subtly. I exhaled deeply and headed her way. She inquired right away. I lifted my phone. It's all here, back in Vanessa's kitchen, deep into the night. The urban hum outside had faded to sporadic traffic. My device rested between us like a loaded gun fresh from the chamber. Prepared, she queried. I assented, fingers damp again, pulse hammering, yet I craved playback, needed it. She hit play, and there he was, Chris's voice so known yet chillingly alien. I owe you $2,000 and I'll pay you back next week when my client pays. Satisfied, crystal clear, impossible to deny. A harsh chuckle escaped me, stinging as it did. He laid it out exactly like that. Vanessa paused it with a nod. That's his downfall sealed. Paired with your records and the bank moves. No escape. I drew ragged breaths, covering my face. Tears loomed, but these weren't from defeat. Not fear or embarrassment anymore. Relief, laced with fury. The worst part. My words quivered. It's not the cash. It's believing he truly valued me, like I mattered uniquely to him. Vanessa gripped my hand. You do matter, just not to that jerk, to folks worth your time. He exploited you, sure, but didn't shatter you. I studied her, sensing her truth for the first time. I endured. I wasn't his victim any longer. We replayed it once more. I absorbed each phrase, then scrawled boldly in my journal. Say it again, Chris. Now for the authorities. Vanessa smirked wryly. And that's precisely what'll go down. 2 days post-meetup, Chris messaged once more. Hey Maya, haven't discovered a thing regarding the funds so far? I gazed at the text, my digits shaking above the keys. Vanessa had urged me to string him along. Hold him dangling, she'd suggested, until he buries himself further. Thus, I responded, I could possibly assist, though not immediately. I must check my available cash reserves first. Within under 5 minutes, my cell buzzed. His tone returned to that gentle murmur, nearly seductive, like our past never soured. Maya, you're a lifesaver. If you pull me from this mess, I promise we'll reset everything. You and me alone. No worries. I truly desire this future with you. I pulled the device slightly from my ear, as though it scorched my skin. Chris, I'm uncertain. $2,000 is substantial. I need assurance you'll repay it properly this round. Absolutely. He chuckled with that familiar, flattering edge. I'll commit it on paper even. Heck, I'll set up the wire transfer ahead for you. Come on, Maya, you're the sole person who still believes in me. The sole one, I murmured under my breath, a sharp ache twisting in my ribcage, yet I noticed my jaw tightening. Fine, I'll shift the amount to a card on your behalf. Share your info. Vanessa had everything set up, a vacant prepaid option that wouldn't accept deposits. She smirked as I relayed Chris's particulars to her. That's our snare. He'll attempt it right off, and once it fails, he'll ramp up the demands. Precisely what we're after, and sure enough, that's how it unfolded. Later that very evening, another note popped from him. Maya, the cash isn't showing up. Did you actually dispatch it? I answered steadily. Indeed, I sent it through. Perhaps it's delayed in processing. Moments afterward, he dialed. His manner had shifted. No more warmth. It turned icy, sharp. "Are you toying with me, Maya? Be honest." My pulse quickened, yet I kept composed. "No, I handled it. Verify once more in the morning." "If you're deceiving me," he paused, his breath ragged, "I vow you'll pay dearly." Then the line went dead. I slumped on my couch, heart thumping wildly, grip tight on the phone, eyes fixed on the shadows. His warning lingered like icy fingers gripping my throat. Yet now I refused the role of prey. This round I stood armed. I jotted in my journal. His grin radiated kindness. His menace chilled to the bone. Soon law enforcement will glimpse his true nature. It was a dreary Monday dawn, clouds pressing down on the urban sprawl. As Vanessa and I ascended the station steps, my chest drummed so fiercely I imagined passers-by could detect it. Tucked in my purse sat the USB stick, loaded with audio clips, captures, and financial records. I clutched my journal, brimming to its final entry as if it were armor. Set. Vanessa inquired, her words steady yet kind. I dipped my head despite the vertigo swirling, as prepared as possible. The entrance carried scents of stale brew and documents. A desk sergeant glanced our way upon arrival. "How may I assist?" Vanessa gave a brisk affirmation. "Indeed, we're here to lodge a complaint, several instances of deception." His eyes flicked to me and held. Heat flushed my cheeks, but I raised my head. "It concerns Chris J.B., I stated, my delivery unexpectedly steady. They ushered us to a modest space, a table, seats, a simple light, unremarkable, though to me it resembled a tribunal. An investigator entered, offered his name, and I launched into my account, from the initial note on cinnamon buns to his final ultimatum. I displayed the payments, images, and aired the recordings. My fingers quivered occasionally, but my narration flowed with an unexpected poise. "You've compiled this meticulously," the investigator noted while scribbling. "Such thoroughness is uncommon. Victims often falter in resolve or detail." I gulped. He nearly stripped me of both, though not completely. Vanessa beamed at me silently, offering quiet support. Emerging after a couple of hours, I sensed I'd endured a skirmish. My limbs weighed heavy. My thoughts rang hollow, yet a fresh sensation stirred within, liberation. And next, I wondered aloud. Vanessa draped her arm over my back. "Now it's not solely your load. The process has activated. Questioning awaits him. With your evidence, escape proves impossible." I agreed, inhaling deeply. For the initial time in ages, air flowed freely again. That night, I inscribed a line in my journal. Today, I seized back my words. Reading it, I realized the struggle persisted, but at last, I aligned with justice. 2 days post-report, I was at the veterinary office cradling a frightened feline when my device hummed. Chris's identifier glowed on the display. A jolt to my gut. My heartbeat faltered. I passed the animal gently to Chloe, who instantly picked up on the tension. "Pick up," she murmured. "Stay vigilant." "Palms slick," I responded. "Hello." His inflection softened once more, nearly alluring, echoing our early days. "Maya, word is the authorities wish to question me. Any idea why?" Silence gripped me. Blood surged through my veins. Why inquire of me? "Simply because." A joyless snort escaped him. "Because you're the only soul who gets me. The one aware that I'm not you're a terrible individual. You trust me, right?" My gut twisted. "Chris." His voice shifted instantly, turning sharp and icy. "Or maybe not. Have you spoken to them? Come on, Maya." The room seemed to close in around me. "Chris, I just can't keep going like this. If that was indeed you," he pressed on, his words slicing like a blade, "you've destroyed it all. But mark my words, you'll pay dearly. I always collect what's mine." Sobs streamed down my face as I fought to keep my composure. "You know exactly what's heading your way, Chris." My words quivered, but they held firm. The reality, and it's closing in on you fast. Quiet fell over the line. Then the call ended abruptly. I remained seated, gripping the phone, my fingertips numb with chill. Chloe was by my side, resting her hand gently on my shoulder. "That sounded like a warning," she murmured. "Yeah," I breathed out, but this time he slipped up and revealed himself. That night, I shared the details of the conversation with Vanessa. She paid close attention, jotting things down. "This is useful," she concluded at last. "It might seem brutal, but statements like that work in our favor. They expose his real nature." I agreed with a nod, brushing away the moisture from my eyes. The hardest thing, I still occasionally recall his early tone, the one that casually requested cinnamon rolls without a second thought. Yet now I see the guy issuing ultimatums. Two sides to him, and I fell for the illusion. Vanessa pulled me into a hug. "Try viewing it this way. One side was just a facade. The other reveals the core, and you've stripped away both disguises." The court date arrived sooner than anticipated. Endless questioning sessions, piles of documents, and discussions with law enforcement, all behind me now. I positioned myself outside the building, my pulse racing wildly. Vanessa stood beside me in everyday attire, yet carrying the same authoritative aura from her job. "Prepared?" she inquired. I dipped my head despite the wave of nausea, as prepared as possible for an ordeal like this. The chamber felt spacious, yet stifling. Polished wooden seats, drab surroundings, the steady buzz from overhead lamps. I took a spot in the second row, clutching my notepad like armor. Moments later, they brought him through. Chris, restrained in cuffs, flanked by guards. No trace of his usual suave grin or leather-clad swagger. He appeared ashen and worn out, locks unkempt. But when his eyes scanned the space and locked onto mine, a flicker appeared. Gentle for a split second, then swiftly frosty. A chill coursed through me, yet I met his stare steadily. I refused to avert my eyes anymore. Not on this day. Proceedings kicked off. The district attorney outlined the charges. Several instances of deception, unlawful obtaining of benefits, and intimidation. Later, as they broadcast my recorded statement, my own words filled the air. "I owe you $2,000, and I'll settle it by next week." My heart quickened anew hearing Chris's tone once more. Proof unfolded, my records, the money movements, the captured images, followed by accounts from others. I detailed it all, from that initial chat about the pastries to the final menacing call. My palms shook occasionally, but I delivered my account with an unexpected steadiness. "What made you place faith in him repeatedly?" The presiding judge probed at the end. I paused, gaze dropping, because love blinded me, because I yearned for genuine intent this time. I chose to trust, and he preyed on that vulnerability. A hush settled over everyone. Chris offered his rebuttal, just as one might predict. He spun tales of mix-ups, misfortune, and faulty assumptions. Yet the longer he went on, the deeper he dug his own hole. Each attempt at charisma rang hollow, contrived, devoid of substance. When he turned to me, saying, "Maya, we shared something unique," I caught Vanessa's subtle scoff from behind. I raised my head higher. "We shared nothing, Chris. Only your deceptions." His expression contorted, and briefly the hidden figure emerged. Pure rage took over. Hours ticked by before it concluded. The judge delivered the decision. 2.5 years behind bars, plus restitution up to the value of his holdings. No cheers, no reactions, just a heavy quiet that lingered like a weight. I let out a deep breath. My frame ached as though I'd endured an endurance race. Vanessa gave my shoulder a quick squeeze. "It's finished, Maya. He's erased from your world." I acknowledged it. Streams of grateful tears tracing my skin. Deep inside, a sense of endurance bloomed. As the doors sealed shut in my wake, it was like shedding heavy chains from my back. I lingered on the entrance steps, drawing in the crisp breeze, noticing my form had steadied. For the first stretch, without tremors in ages, Chris was truly absent, out of my orbit, out of what lay ahead. Vanessa approached, silently handing me a disposable mug of coffee. "Take this. It's sweetened. You seem in need of a treat." I let out a brief, rough chuckle, dabbing at my face with my cuff. "Appreciate it. I wouldn't have managed without your support." "Actually, you would have," she replied earnestly, eyes fixed on mine. "It might have dragged on and the stumbles could have been steeper, but you'd have pulled through. You're tougher than you realize." The ensuing days brought a calm. I returned to my routine job, tended to Luna, trotted along the enclosure, allowing the gusts to brush against me. Whenever my instincts scanned for any lingering dread, I found it completely gone. No dangers lurking, no harassing notes, no forced grins, just quiet emptiness. In the evenings, I'd settle at my kitchen table with my journal in hand. I'd leaf through the entries crammed with figures, totals, and message fragments, marveling at my progress. Those entries no longer symbolized my vulnerability, they embodied my bravery. On the final blank sheet, I inscribed a fresh title, not a casualty, but a conqueror. Vanessa was adamant about marking the occasion, so one night, we gathered in her kitchen, a pizza spread out on the counter, a wine bottle beside it. She lifted her glass. "To you, Maya, to your resilience, and to never ignoring your instincts when they're shouting warnings." Our glasses chimed together as I grinned. "And to you for proving that true friendship can rescue us more than romance ever could." "Always," she replied, taking a sip. Weeks afterward, the initial correspondence arrived from the district attorney's office. It verified that portions of my funds would return via his confiscated holdings. Not the full amount, but sufficient to sense that fairness extended beyond mere rhetoric. I lifted the document, my fingertips gliding over its surface. "He nearly shattered me," I murmured. "Yet now, he's compensating in every conceivable way." At the stables during a gentle dusk, I rode Luna over the meadow. The horizon blushed with hues of rose. A breeze tangled in my locks. After months of restraint, I burst into genuine laughter, free of resentment, while Luna, my steadfast partner, bore me onward as though she'd foreseen my triumph all along. Time flew by. Summer arrived. The urban air carried scents of blooming lindens, and I sensed my existence reclaiming its place as mine alone. Not beholden to Chris, not ensnared by his scheme, not chained to past anxieties, simply mine. On a balmy night from the balcony, I lounged with a novel spread open, one I'd been unable to touch for ages. Previously, each leaf had weighed too much in my grasp, my mind forever drifting to him. These days I flipped through effortlessly, the narrative flowing naturally once more. I was truly immersed. I was thriving anew. In my role at the clinic, I'd transformed. I attuned myself sharper to others, catching not only their statements, but the unspoken undercurrents. One patient shared her minor financial woes, and I detected the anguish masking her expression. Another arrived with his anxious pup, and I spotted the desperation in his gestures. I understood now the art of revealing just enough while concealing what truly mattered. Vanessa and I kept up our routine meetups. We'd horseback ride, share vintages, or simply share quiet moments side by side. One night she observed, "You've evolved, Maya." I chuckled lightly. "Better or worse?" "Better," she affirmed without pause. "You're sharper, more resolute, and you won't accept anything short of what you merit." Her insight struck a chord. She nailed it. An inner fortitude had blossomed in me. I'd ceased feeling mortified for succumbing to Chris's charms. Sure, I'd craved romance. Sure, I'd trusted his facade, but that didn't render me naive. It rendered me mortal, and the wisdom gained fortified me. I jotted it down in the journal's closing lines, steady and calm this time. I was tricked. I suffered wounds, yet I remain intact. I've expanded. With the sun dipping low over the cityscape, I caressed Luna's brow as she lingered by the railing, murmuring, "We'll endure anything." No longer mere optimism, this was conviction. It was a gradual realization that power isn't about avoiding stumbles, It's about rising despite believing you're done. I trusted, I cherished, I yearned, and I was betrayed. But that doesn't strip my faith. It doesn't dim my desire for connection. It doesn't withhold the affection I can offer. It merely teaches me to draw lines, that my intuition is the truest ally when emotions rage unchecked. I've discovered folks reveal their essence eventually, and when they do, accept it, regardless of how desperately you desire otherwise. I was preyed upon, but I refused to linger there. I was misled, but I'm whole. I'm advancing with keener vision and a tougher spirit. And should love find me again someday, it won't be sightless. It'll be with vigilance, rooted in proven loyalty. For I've grasped that authentic affection never diminishes you. It enriches you wholly,